Hey guys, it's Debbie here. So today I want to be talking about how you can celebrate for Autism Awareness Month and Day. If you guys like what you're watching, please subscribe, share, and press that like button. So as this event is coming up, Autism Awareness Month actually falls on the month of April, and Autism Awareness Day is on April 2nd. So here I'm going to be listing suggestions of 11 things that you can do to show your support and giving a celebration for Autism Awareness Month and Day. The first thing you want to learn about is why not learn the history about autism? There's so many important factors about autism, and that it has come a long way over the years. That have been so many research done, and they're emerging for children and adults with autism that has come of today. So actually in 1911 was the first term use of autism that had been devised by Eugen sorry if I say the name wrong, but his name is Eugen Bleuler, who was a German psychiatrist that came about this word and describing it of like as social withdrawal and detachment from reality, which was most often used seen in children with schizophrenia. So in 1924, a 12-year-old boy was brought into a Moscow clinic and for an evaluation. A young gifted doctor named Grunya Sakhareva observed this boy with her keen eye and attention to detail, and basically described him as an introverted type with an autistic proclivity into himself. Then at the time, autistic was a relatively new adjective in psychiatry during that timeline. At first, Sakhareva used this term autistic in the same way that Bleuler did, but as she started to see other children with these traits, she decided to try to characterize it more fully. So she identified 5 other more boys with what she described it as had autistic tendencies. And all 5 of them showed perseverance for their own inner world, and each had their own peculiarities or talents. In 1925, Sakhareva published a paper describing in detail the autistic features in these 6 boys that they shared. Her descriptions were remarkably prescient and simple enough for specialists to understand. So in 1938, Donald Triplett, who was a young boy at the time from Mississippi, was met with a pediatric psychiatrist named Dr. Leo Kanner, who described this boy to be autistic. Then in 1943, Dr. Leo Kanner wrote a paper describing 11 children that were highly intelligent but displayed a desire to be alone and had an attachment for consistency in their daily life schedules. So he described them as like early infantile autism. And then in 1944, Hans Asperger described autism as a difficulty with social and communication skills, and were recognized as milder form of autism that he named Asperger's syndrome. In 1973, Dr. Ivar Lovis created what we now call ABA therapy, to which is continued to be viewed today as the most effective therapy for working with children with autism to develop language and behavioral skills. So, and then 1977, research on twins indicates that autism is primarily caused by genetics and biological differences in brain development. And then in 1991, the U.S. government classifies autism as a special education category, which schools begin offering services to children with autism, thankfully. In 1994, Asperger's syndrome is added to the DSM, expanding the autism spectrum to include milder causes in which individuals tend to be more highly functional. And then in 2007 World Autism Awareness Day was created by the United Nations. And then in 2013, the American Psychiatrists Association recognizes autism as a spectrum. And in 2020, Stages Learning Materials released ARIS, A-R-I-S, the first comprehensive early autism curriculum, making ABA therapy accessible for teachers and parents and helping their children learn language and behavioral skills. Now, learning all that from history, I think was totally amazing, and it blew my mind of the timeline of how we have overcame over the years about the term of autism and how much it has developed since, it came about. Now, the second thing I can recommend is to really show your support for autism awareness is check out autism-friendly businesses. You can do Google research of what are some autism-friendly businesses, whether locally or online. And I'm gonna also list a couple of the businesses that you can check out if you want to show your support for them. So there is AMC Theaters. They provide multiple sensory-friendly movie showings each month, and they create the environment to be adjusting under the sound and light of levels of it for individuals that have sensory needs, which I think is really great. And AMC also created the Further Opportunities, Cultivating Untapping Strengths, aka Focus, program, which is dedicated to developing employability skills for individuals with disabilities and hiring them. And then there's also a Microsoft Autism Hiring Program, which was inspired by an employee who has a son with autism. So the Microsoft Autism Program was created as a job recruitment for helping individuals with autism to develop career readiness skills. Participants focus on job capabilities and unique skills that they can offer to companies. And then there's also Walgreens Ready, or REDI. Walgreens, which is Walgreens Retail Employers with Disability, aka Ready, program works with local agencies to provide training to prospective employees in specific skill areas, then placing them in settings that are supportive and appropriate for their needs and their skills. And then another company that you can show support for is a Royal Caribbean Cruise and Autism on the Seas. So Royal Caribbean Cruise Lines have created autism-friendly cruises, including staff who are specially trained to support the needs of families and children with autism. Now, extensive dietary responsive menus and sensory-friendly, relaxing, and recreational areas are included on board, which is great if you ever want to take a vacation cruise with your family and you have a child that's autistic. You can do that with them and have a good, grateful, enjoyable experience with that. So this next company that you can show a little support for is Home Depot. Home Depot has partnered with an organization called Ken's Crew to recruit and train employees with disabilities. The program provides jobs, matching and training, job coaching, and community support for the employees. So the third thing that you can do to raise awareness with what you wear. You can wear any type of accessories like jewelries, t-shirts, clothing, whatever, have mugs or something that allows you to make a statement of bringing autism awareness that shows the support. This is a great way to show your support for autism awareness that can make an impact on anyone that you meet in public. If you don't have any autism awareness clothes available or accessories, you can go show your support locally or go to a craft local store to buy some items, that are symbolic to the autism awareness, which is from what I researched up from people that are autistic prefer the symbol of use of a rainbow infinity type of symbol. So maybe you can find a rainbow a ribbon or like something to make it like a ribbon, like make it turn into an infinity rainbow type look, to pin it on your clothing or your items or your purse or whatever to show your support. And that's a great way to definitely show your support for a local business if you can find any, or just going to a local crafty store to find something easy and simple to make for yourself, DIY. Now, the fourth thing that you can do is check out famous people with autism. You can check out any celebrities or creators or inventors that are on the spectrum, and read about it, learn about them. I'm going to list out at least 33 famous figures that are autistic that you can look up about and learn from. So there is Greta Thunberg, who is a Swedish environmental activist. And then there's Satoshi Tajiri, who is the creator of Pokemon. And then there's Daryl Hannah, who is an actress and environmental activist. There's Alexis Weinman, who is an autism advocate, who was also Miss America pageant contestant and Miss Montana. Now, there's also this actor comedian named Dan Aykroyd. I can't say his last name for the life of me, but you probably have seen his face in some familiar movies like Ghostbusters or My Girl, and some other movies that are on his list that you can look him up. And there is also Hans Christian Andersen, who is a children's author who created the story of The Little Mermaid, if you don't recognize his work. And then there's Benjamin Banneker, who is an African-American Almanic author and a naturalist and a farmer. And there's Susan Boyle, who is a singer. And there's also Tim Burton, who is a movie director. And if you don't know or are not familiar with his work, he is the one that created Nightmare Before Christmas. Then there's Lewis Carroll, who is the author of Alice in Wonderland. Then there is Henry Cavendish, who is a scientist. And then there's also Charles Darwin, who is a naturalist, a geologist, and a biologist. Then there was Emily Dickinson, who is a poet. And then Paul Dirac, that is a physicist. And Albert Einstein, who is a scientist and a mathematician. Then Bobby Fischer, who is a chess grandmaster. Then there's Bill Gates, who is the co-founder of Microsoft Corporation. Then there was Temple Grandin, who was an animal scientist. And then Thomas Jefferson, who was an early American politician. Then there's Steve Jobs, who was the CEO of Apple. Then there's James Joyce, who was a author of Ulysses. Then there was Alfred Kinsey, who is a sexologist and a biologist. Then there was Stanley Kubrick, who is a film director. And then there was Barbara McClintock, who was a scientist and a cytogeneticist. Then there was Michelangelo, who was a sculptor, a painter, an artist, architect, poet. He was multiple of all things of like an artistic. Then was Wolfgang Amadeus Mozart, who was a classical composer. Then there was Sir Isaac Newton, who was a mathematician, astronomer, and a physicist. Then there was Jerry Seinfeld, who was a comedian actor. And then there is Nikola Tesla, who is an inventor. And then Andy Warhol, who was an artist, and Ludwig Wittgenstein, who was a philosopher, and William Butler Yeats, who was a poet, and last but not least, Elon Musk, who is an entrepreneur. Then the fifth option that you can do is watch movies about autism. Now, if you don't know any, I will suggest at least 4 movies that you can go ahead and check out to watch. So the first one is Loop, which is on Disney+. And it's a great short film to watch with the kids. It is about a girl that is autistic, and she goes to a canoe camp. Now, when she goes to this canoe camp, she goes on a canoe with this boy who tries to communicate with her, and she's nonverbal, so she doesn't really communicate back. So in this short film, it shows that connection and the neurodiversity mindset, and it gives a wonderful way of showing different ways of how to communicate and connect with someone. In this next short film is called Float, and it's also on Disney Plus, and that's something you can definitely watch with the kids. So this movie is about a father that discovers that his son is different from other kids, and the way how he goes on about it is that he keeps him and his child safe from being exposed to like other people, just to protect themselves from judgment from others. And then another great film that you can watch is Temple Grandin, which is based on a true story about an autistic woman who overcomes the limitations imposed on her and by her condition, and to become an expert in the field of animal husbandry. And then another film that you can also watch is The Other Sister, which is it's about a mentally challenged woman who seeks independence. And she seeks independence by like owning her own apartment, and attending to a college, all while her family plans for her sister's big wedding day. And then the sixth option that you can do also is check out autism blogs and podcasts. So you can look up on Google of like autism blogs and podcasts, and there's just so many great blogs and podcasts and related to autism that you can definitely read or give it a listen to. Here I will list at least 7 podcast suggestions that you can go ahead and give a listen to. So the first one is Autism Parenting Secrets. And the second one is Overcome the Overwhelm podcast for special needs moms. Then the third one is the Special Needs Mom podcast. And then the fourth one is a Special Needs Supermom. And then the fifth one is a Moms Talk Autism, which I love and I listen to. And another one, sixth one, I believe, is a Uniquely Human, the podcast, and Autism by Autistics, which is another great podcast. Why not listen to that? So I hope you guys like those suggestions and go ahead and give them a listen for it. And then the seventh thing that I can recommend for you guys is to read your favorite book or read a new book about autism or something related to autism. Now, I'm going to list out 5 books suggestions that you can either read it to yourself, or you can read it to your kids, or you can read it with other people, whichever way that you prefer. So the first suggestion that I'm going to say is checking out this book of Austics on Autism, stories you need to hear about what helped them while growing up and pursuing their dreams, which is by the author named Carrie Magro. Then another book is Uniquely Human, a different way of seeing autism, by this author named Perry Present. Sorry if I say the last name wrong. So this next book I will also suggest is called My Friend Has Autism, Friends with Disabilities, which is written by 2 authors named Amanda During Tourville and Kristen Karan Sora, which I have this book, by the way, and it's a really great book that I do read to my kids. So this is what it looks like. And as you can see, it's a little bit worn and good love with it, but my kids do like me reading this book to them. It has really great pictures and visuals. I love it how the words are so simple and easy for my kids to really understand. And it's an all-around great book that I do suggest that you can get and read to your kids. Okay. Another great book that you can read is My Friend Jake Has Autism, a book to explain autism to children, which is written by the author of Christine Draper. And then another great book, last but not least, is Ethan's Story, My Life with Autism, which is written by this 8-year-old boy, Ethan Rice, who has autism. So a great list of suggestions of books that you can check out and read for yourself, and read it to your kids if you wish. The 8th option that you can do also is support good autism organizations. So here I'm going to list out 17 of them that you can check out and show your support for, and do some research about them if you like them. First one is the Association for Autistic Community. This is a nonprofit organization that organizes Autspace every year, which is a conference in the United States that features autistic researchers, academics, public speakers, authors, artists, musicians, among other things. So it's a celebration of autistic culture and community. Also, to put out there, that I will put in the link of all these organizations that you can easily check out and click on in my description. And then the next organization is Autistics Against Curing Autism. This organization is more for it's a nonprofit organization run by autistic people in Chicago, Illinois, that go for helping to educate neurotypical people about autism, and they're basically protest against ableism and anti-autistic erotic, and they help people. They help autistic people with advocacy and overcoming challenges, which is a great thing, I believe. And then this next organization is called the Autistic Self-Advocacy Network, which is shortened for ASAN, or ASAN. And it's a nonprofit organization run by autistic people that gives support for autistic people. So what they do is their organization, it's first held based in the United States, and that they advocate for public policies that benefit for autistic people or neurodivergent, disabled type people. And they also give out scholarships to autistic people that are attending to college. And every June, they held an event on this called the Autism Campus Inclusion Program in Washington, D.C., which teaches autistic college students in their own campuses how they can advocate for themselves and the Bill of Rights, and to start their own neurodiversity and autism rights clubs in their college campus. Then the next organization is Autistic Inclusive Meets, shortened for AIM, is an autistic advocacy organization created by autistic people, which is held in the United Kingdom and is led by an autistic mother and advocates. And this next organization is Autistics for Autistics in Ontario, which is held in Canada. And what they normally do is they affiliate with the Autistic Self-Advocacy Network, and they focus on the rights and opportunities for autistic people and meeting the needs for autistic community. And then the next organization is Autism Ireland, which is another community organization run by autistic people that is held in Ireland. And then this next organization is Autistic United Canada, which is based in Canada, held for disability rights organization created by autistic people that are committed to raising voices for autistic people. Then this next organization is Autistic Women and Non-Binary Network, and they shorten it to AWN to make it easier. And this organization is led by autistic people with the mission to provide community support and resources for autistic women and girls and non-binary people and all other marginalized genders. And then this next organization is CLE Autistic, which is based in France, and it's more for French autistic advocacy organization that is the collective for the freedom of expression of autistics. And then this next organization is Communication First, and it is an organization that advocates for non-speaking, neurodivergent, and disabled people. It is led and guided by individuals who have communication related disabilities or who identify as disabled. And this next organization is Communication First, which is an organization that advocates for non-speaking, neurodivergent, and disabled people. So mostly what they do is led by individuals who have communication related disabilities, challenges, and who identify as disabled. First Communication promotes opportunities and accommodations. So Communication First promotes opportunities and accommodations, autonomy and self-determination and equal rights, inclusion and dignity for people with speech-related disabilities and conditions. And then another organization is Foundations for Divergent Minds, and this is a nonprofit organization based in Texas that is led by autistic and other neurodivergent people. And they provide training and education to parents, teachers, and service providers on neurodiversity and align with practices and support. And then this next organization is, I love their title by the way, it's called the International Badass Activists. Best title ever. And their organization is founded by an autistic activist named Eve Rayland, who is also the co-founder for the Autistic Cooperative. And according to the website, the International Badass Activists is a peer-led organization focused on activism campaigns and stigma busting and divergent news and education and peer community development and autistic to NT bridge building projects and other badass initiatives to support the neurodiversity civil rights movement. Then this next one is a London Autistic Standing Together, and they shorten it to call it LAST. And LAST is an autistic advocacy organization led by autistic advocates in London and Ontario and Canada. This next organization is called a Non-Speaking Consortium, which is a nonprofit organization founded by non-speaking autistic and other neurodivergent people, non-speaking people. And they promote for communication access and to basically change the communication rights, and to promote access for communication choices for non-speaking individuals through education, research, and advocacy. And this next organization is the Autistic Cooperative, which is an international autistic-led advocacy and networking organization. And this next organization is the Autistic Cooperative, which is an international autistic-led advocacy and networking organization. And this organization focuses on worldwide for advocacy and activists and representatives that promotes to help provide support for autistic people, as well as to help cultivate pride and acceptance for autistic people. And then this next organization is the Thinking Person's Guide to Autism, which is a platform that provides autism news, discussions, and resources. And its mission is to provide clear, referenced evidence support information contrary to negative social attitudes about autism. Okay. Its mission is to provide clear referenced evidence supporting information to negative societal attitudes about autism and fraudulent autism and pseudoscience, and that is often promoted as autism cures. And finally, is this last organization is called the Yellow Ladybugs, Autistics, Girls and Women. And then this ninth option that you can do is find sensory toys or tools that can help a child that's overcoming like focusing challenges. So like they may have a hard time like focusing on like a simple certain task, and giving them a sensory toys or tools can really help them to really pay attention to a single task or task that is a skill that can be developed over time. This 10th option that you can do is spread awareness in your community. So like it was mentioned before, like showing your support for like organizations, or wearing it to spread the awareness, or you can also do like some donations to whatever any local charities and related about autism. Those are a lot of great ways that you can find to spread the awareness in your community and sharing it with other people locally around you. And then this 11th option that you can do is spread kindness. So to make an impact in this world, it's so important to show that the world can be a more inclusive place, and spread positivity, and that any like kindness, type of kindness, whether big or small, shows that impact, a powerful impact of how much you care, and that you're showing the love and appreciation to like other friends, families, other people within the community that have autism, to show that they are being seen. And kindness is contagious and may inspire others to do the same thing as you. If you guys have any other like list of like suggestions to giving support for Autism Awareness Month and showing it, please list it all in the comments. I would greatly appreciate that. Hope you guys enjoyed this video, and that this gives enough like inspiration and ideas of what steps you can do to show your support and love for Autism Awareness Month and Day. Hope you guys have a great day. See you next time.